Hi, everyone, and welcome to the latest session in the Liquid Donate webinar series. This series is all about spotlighting retail brands who are navigating real-world operational challenges like overstock and returns and turning them into opportunities for impact and innovation. If you've ever struggled with aging inventory, overstock, or returns, this session is for you. Today, we're excited to share a conversation with a brand that's built a loyal community while scaling with purpose, the Yuuma Collection. We're joined by their founder and CEO, Donnya Negera, who's not only created a product line that resonates with modern customers, but is also tapping into innovative ways to handle unsellable inventory through partnerships like ours. Donnya, for the folks in our audience who might not know Yuuma yet, can you give us a quick overview of the brand and what sets it apart in the retail landscape?
Absolutely. And thanks for the intro. Very sweet of you. It's crazy. I started this when I was pregnant with my second. It was like kind of like in a back in the back of the scenes of everything that I've been doing. I'm actually a creator to start off with. I create content online. And so while I was doing that, all the money that I was gaining from brand partnerships, I was using that to save to essentially launched one bag with two colors, literally black and brown. But before then, I had my own fair share of experiences with diaper bags. And I remember vividly with my first daughter, I was pregnant. I had everything checked off on my list, but I could not find the perfect diaper bag, like at all. And so I was like, I know a lot of women are going through this. Like these bags are not my style. They have like bedazzled unicorns, they just have all these random corny designs. And it just didn't fit my aesthetic. And I also wanted a bag that had good structure that would last. And also, I can use it even after my kids get older. Because a lot of these bags are just for that chapter, for the baby. But, the kids get older. A lot of these things that we're buying, you end up throwing out. But I wanted a bag to last, and I can use it for myself for brunch or, go to work, something that transcends and grows with me, like goes along the next chapters of my life as a woman. And so Yuma was born. And Yuma actually means mother, and it's from a Nigerian tribe. So it's a really cool way to tie things together.
Wow, so thank you for sharing all of that about your personal experience. I can imagine just like as you're trying to bring life into this world, just like some of these kinds of things really are important. And I'm curious about how you came up with the name Yuma.
Yes, it's crazy because my parents are from Haiti, and so I wanted to do something along those lines. But a lot of my competitors, they had a lot of French names, like La Mer, Ma Mère, and stuff. Their
Yeah.
bags were named that, and so I was like, let me dig a little deeper. And so I looked up ways to say mother in African, dialects, African languages, and of course, it's like a huge list. And Yuma stood out to me because it's actually stated in a respectable like tone. It's not just like mom,
Hmm.
when someone's approaching a mother or a woman that they respect, that's when they say Yuma. And I'm like, oh wow. And
Wow.
so I was like, I think this is one. And so
Yeah.
essentially, if you want to go deep on like my ancestry DNA, yes, because I do have a little bit of that. So from Nigeria. But yes, I wanted to dive a little deeper than just the French
Yeah.
origin of like my country. So
Yeah. So how did you go from content creator, having this pain point as a mom, to establishing a full-fledged brand?
yeah, there was a lot that was happening. I mean, because you had COVID and everything. So I just felt like as a creator and all this, all these brand partnerships coming in that I can do something greater, something more that's outside of just creating content online. And I knew a lot of women within my space, like a lot of my followers are mothers as well. And having a nice bag really does matter, even if it's not just like a diaper bag. Like almost every woman has a fanny bag, a purse, a backpack. We have so many types of bags in our closet. And so I want to be able to create something for my community and more. And on top of that, you, as a creator on a business side of that, you don't want to rely on only brand partnerships. Like you want to start creating something for yourself. And as people have seen, what's her name? Monet Michelle, I think that's her name. She launched a partnership with Sniff to a perfume, or a lot of these creators are just launching their own businesses because it's like it's bigger than what we think of just showing your face online. You can literally cultivate a whole community and make a business. It's like, why not do the same? But with COVID, I had to everything just kind of stopped. And so I had to push it back to September of 2020. And so
Wow.
that's when we launched. But I was supposed to launch in April. But then that's when everything happened. So
Anytime anyone mentions plans for April 2020.
crazy, crazy time.
Yeah. Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. And I actually would like to thank Clubhouse for that because that's when Clubhouse came out. And I was in a lot of rooms just hopping in, pitching, and I was like listening to other people's pitches. I mean, we were in spaces with like millionaires, billionaires. I mean, even Kanye West had a room one day. Like, Clubhouse was a crazy time. Like, we were just hopping in a room. So I was able to pitch in several rooms, and I was able to get angel investing because this guy
Wow.
in the room, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so that was really cool to help, with September and pushing it back and just launching with one bag with two colors. So it was a very humble launch, but it was
Wow.
great.
Wow, it sounds like you got a lot done during COVID. And I was gonna ask, like, how was that transition from content creator to founder for you? It sounds like you were able to leverage like ephemeral as it was, Clubhouse, like as a social media platform to bridge your
Yeah.
social media like presence to becoming more of a founder presence.
Yeah. You know, it does feel like how to say you have multiple hats. You do kind of have to switch the hat from a creator to business owner. But in essence, being a creator, it kind of gives you a leg up. Like you get a little head start. You actually are in the business mindset already because of all these brand partnerships that's coming in. You're literally learning how to sell a product, how to speak to your audience, how to speak to um, that customer basis depending on what brand partnership you have. And so it's just like, why not do it for myself, so
Yeah.
you're literally training yourself throughout these years of being a creator. And so you just have this transition of just wanting to just do it for yourself. You have all the knowledge already.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me, what was the biggest surprise for you as a founder as you're growing your business in the retail space?
I think the biggest surprise was that it's not all about sales. Like you think it's just like, hey, I have this product, shop, but as one thing, actually year 4 and this year makes year 5, I'm learning that like, wait, I need to scale back. It's mostly about the community because I was relying on sales. I was relying on keeping the ads on. I was relying on, um, I just wasn't presenting the brand in a way where it was putting our customer first. It was mostly just the bag first, like, shop here, shop our bags, here's a sale. And so that was one of the biggest surprises for me because I'm like, wait, this is actually harder than I expected. And so, and which is why it also makes sense as to why, on a brand's perspective, why they have creators, why they have all these influencer marketing campaigns, because you need to have people with the bags. You need to bring life to your brand instead of just a product. um and so it might not seem like a shocker to others, but for me it was just like, well, dang, this is actually harder than I thought it would be. And so it's like, why can't I do this for myself but I can do it for other brands? It's like, I don't know why. It's like I do it good for this brand but I'm having a hard time for myself. So it's
Yeah.
complicated. Yeah.
Well, I think like it's interesting, like you talked about like selling more than just the product. Like in marketing, we talk about how you're selling a story, you're selling a feeling.
Yeah.
And I do think that that can be hard to capture. And I think you have the story behind it. So I understand like when you're talking about other, it's kind of like when you're talking about yourself. It's like easy to flex on your best friends, but not on yourself.
Girl, always. I don't know what it is. We just do it to ourselves. We just do it to ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, I wanted to ask, like you mentioned on the sales side, so I can imagine as a growing brand, inventory can be an asset, but also a challenge. Can you talk about the reality of having to manage some of the excess items or returns or out of season products?
Yeah, the reality, I'm sure it's different depending on the business owner and their background, but I feel like with stay-at-home moms, it's a whole different ballpark because you have inventory. Depending on the situation, usually you have an office space with all the inventory or the garage, and then you have the kids and the home and everything. So it's just like, it just becomes very stressful when it comes to excess inventory because you're trying to figure out like how to separate the two. And then if you get returns sent home, it's just a lot of boxes coming in. And so it can get very overwhelming. So it is interesting to navigate because that's definitely a side that people aren't expecting when starting a business. Like you're expecting just sales. That's it. Like people are going to buy, but there could be returns. It could be, a customer may have gotten their item late, so you have to reship another product. Like there's just so many things that come into play with inventory, and even just making sure that the product makes sense, because usually if you get things in bulk from a manufacturer, there could be some bad eggs in the bunch. And it's also like, you know what? I gotta have another manufacturer as a backup because this one's not, delivering up to par. So there's so many factors that makes it like a little more stressful than expected.
Yeah, I can imagine. I do think, yeah, it is funny because there's so much talk about the top of the funnel where you're just trying to
Mm,
push out product, but there's a whole life cycle outside of that to manage as well.
yes.
So before partnering with Liquid Donate, how are you handling unsellable or your overstock inventory? I know you had some grassroots efforts going, so
Yeah.
I would love to hear you talk about that and why it was so important to you.
Yeah, so we're currently in Texas, but at first I was in Louisiana when we launched. And yeah, I had a lot of excess inventory, but I was able to create a lot of connections with creators and just organizations locally in Louisiana. And there was just one day I was just chatting with someone and she was doing an event, and I'm like, girl, I have bags. Like it was just like an event for moms. And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And then I think there was another time where I literally just wanted to search up organizations near me, and I found this organization called the Black New Orleans Mom, and they were looking for people to help donate and sponsor an event. And I'm like, I have a plethora of inventory. The ones that I can't sell were just like things. I think it was like Mother's Day themed, and they wanted pink bags. I had pink bags at that time because the, the idea at first was nice, but our pink bags did not sell as much than our neutrals. So I was like, listen, I have a lot of pink backpacks. And so it just worked on both ends because they love the bags. And I was able to easily, get rid of the unsellable bags at that time. But it's crazy because now people are asking for pink bags. And I'm like, no one was buying them before. So
Yeah, how has it been trying to gauge like supply and demand for the different colors, different SKUs?
So, because I think of it as myself, I'm a consumer as well. I love neutral. So the neutral color palettes that we have always been a hit for our customers. Um, but I just figured pink would be good, because a lot of girl moms and stuff. But it's just one of those things I noticed that when it comes to a bag, straying away from the neutrals is a little, it's not safe to do. Like even the other brands I have been checking out, just doing some research, if they do stray, it's like burgundy or like a deep blue navy, If it's a hot color, it's either the lime green. I know that was trending last year with
With
what's
Brat
the one?
Summer.
Yes, yeah, but or hot pink, but those are just like statement pieces for like maybe smaller bags, not like a big backpack or a big purse. It just depends. But I wanted to keep it neutral with my brand and just make that our ecosystem
Yeah.
of brands. Yeah.
Um, so you were doing these grassroots efforts on your own, you were making connections with local organizations, and now that you've partnered with Liquid Donate, how has that process changed for you in being able to scale? Or has it been able to free up any time or resources for you, or maybe help like reach communities that maybe you weren't in contact before?
Oh yeah. I mean, so now we're in Texas, and instead of me taking that time to look for organizations, Liquid Donate just connects me to them immediately. And so what's been cool usually when we meet up to, do our exchange, I get to learn more about them. And actually we've actually furthered our relationship where I'm going to their events. Like there's a lot that these organizations are doing for people here in Dallas. And it just kind of makes you wonder, like, there's a lot, the world does seem kind of ugly, but there's a lot of people on the ground, like they're really doing so much to just give back to everyone here. Like log off of all the social media. The world is not too bad. It's not too bad. And so it's been cool to see these organizations in person, and it's been great because my customers, they can easily process their return, and they're part of that process by donating their bag to a local organization within their area, within their city. So that makes it so that I don't get an extra bag sent to my place or my inventory area, or what do they call it? Fulfillment center, which is my house, but I know on the outside it's called fulfillment center. But they can just do it locally to their area, which is nice.
Yeah, I can imagine that saves you a lot of headache and
Yeah.
stress even of just like, okay, I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah.
Um, well, can you tell us maybe, I know you mentioned like establishing a really nice relationship, but maybe some kind of impact that has stood out to you the most, whether maybe it's community-based, emotional, or even like operational since you integrated Liquid Donate in your fulfillment process?
Yes, we actually partnered with a local organization here, and she works with homeless women, male and female as well. But there's predominantly more women within our organization, and they were able to supply them with bags for the moms there who don't have like much. They honestly they need to pack a lot of their essentials in something, and the bags helped. And it's one of those things that people don't you would think that a bag is not that serious, but it actually helps. It literally holds all the things that you need, especially if you're on foot all the time. So we've been able to help them tremendously, and even just the feedback, they absolutely love the bags, and um, they've even wanted to venture out into even having like the fanny pack. So I feel like they're probably going on our site. They're like, "Oh, what's your new collection? Can we get this now?" So it's just more of like it's just kind of tapping in and seeing what they love. But overall, it's just a really good feeling to help all moms, not just the ones that are like, of course, our target demographic, but literally every woman who needs a bag that makes them feel better, that helps them throughout their day.
Oh, that's really awesome. I think like being able to be in touch with those stories is like it sounds like you set out to really make an impact in the community this year, and I feel like you've been able to just have a lot of that like genuine connection with the community.
Yes, yeah, and I want to do more. I feel like I'm always just boggled up with the kids and everything, but I just need to sit down and just do more community stuff. Dallas, there is very community focused. So I want to be a part of it. I want to just be submerged in all of it. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, if there are any brands or organizations in Dallas, make sure to hit up Danya.
Hello. Safely.
Well, I'm curious. So, there's so many ways to handle excess inventory, whether it's like liquidation, like warehousing it, or even destruction. Like unfortunately, some folks send it to landfill or incinerators. What made donation the right move for Yuma's brand and operations?
There is a purpose for anything. Like, even if it's a product, something may be old to you but new to someone else. And that mindset has really changed it for me because my husband, he's really big on just holding tight on things, like I would always try to throw something out. So I've actually learned this from him. He's like, hey, you can actually use this for something, or give it away to somebody else. So I've applied that to our brand, and it's it's one of those things. If you even think about excess landfills and stuff with just like what do they call it, the fast fashion industry. I mean, there's a lot of trash out there that we're not actually seeing. It's insane when it comes to like the commerce or just I don't know retail space. A lot is going to waste. So I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be able to at least this is our way of recycling. If this is something that could be of use to somebody, might why not?
Yeah. Um, what would you say to another founder, or operations person who's on the fence about donation as a scalable solution?
Definitely do liquid donate. I think it gives you an opportunity to actually, instead of looking, because I feel like as a business owner, we're honestly looking up, we're trying to scale, but without actually looking around us with organizations that we can actually grow with, people we can partner with, like things we can do on the ground. Because once you start to I share these ideas with these organizations, you start to realize, whoa, this is this is probably not the trajectory you are going for your business, but it can be bigger, it can be better because you're leaning into the community more. So being able to just get that connection and meet these people has been huge for me because it's making me realize like again, it's more about the people, honestly. Y'all have to just do it to liquid donate. It makes the process easier too. So that's a good check off the box. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. So you recently got your year-end impact report. What did it feel like to see the data and what has that meant to you?
I mean, just the market value was a lot in total because when you're doing it throughout the year, it doesn't feel like it's that much of a difference, but just summing it all up together, I was like, oh wow, I did that much. So it's been pretty cool to see the numbers.
Yeah, and any numbers or stories that made it feel like just real?
I think just like the full on just 40,000 in the market value because I'm usually just kind of counting the variance and the colors. I mean, just like the number of bags that we have. So then, the organization knows how much to put in their cart. I'm really not thinking about the numbers that much until, he summed it up for me and sent me the PDF. I was like, whoa, I guess it was that much. So um it definitely just makes a difference seeing everything all together and how much. I mean, it does make you wonder, like, okay, this is a lot of money too, when you see that number, but then it also makes you see, like, okay, this is a lot that we're giving back to the community.
Yeah. Well, I know y'all clearly invest a lot in community just beyond the product itself being something made with the person in mind. So I remember you talking about some of the hosted events like you had around yoga around Mother's Day and planning for more events like that. So I'm curious, like, how do those efforts tie back to your brand's long-term strategy, or even just like your growth as a company?
We when we did it last year for our first Mother's Day event, we wanted to meet with the our customers who are in Dallas. So that was like the main thing because we have a lot of customers in Texas. So it's like, well, I want to meet our customers in person. Like I was kind of creeped out at first. So I'm like, that actually would be kind of cool. But then we also open it up to just our customers and just Dallas moms in the area. So it was just a way just to draw back from life as a mom, just to pretty much unplug and just tap into ourselves just for that quick 1 hour for the day, feed into the moms. And so I want this to be something where it can kind of be like an escape. Like Yuma is like a great place to embrace motherhood, friendship, womanhood, and also just loving new ways to style your looks and style your outfits because we do get stuck in leggings and hoodies sometimes because we have the kids. We don't really want to get dressed. But sometimes just seeing that nice bag, it's like, let me piece, a little one or two together and it makes sense. But I just really want women to just not really feel like they're just moms. It is
Yeah.
great being a mom, but you do really feel like, dang, this is it. What else is left? But um, I just want them to know that there's more. There's always more to yourself. You end up discovering so many talents that you like. But yeah, I want them to do that here within Yuma, of course, and find themselves.
Yeah. And I think you've really grown Yuma into that brand. And there's a lot of momentum around it. I wanted to ask, like going back to your experience in the e-commerce space, um, what are some things maybe you learned the hard way that you'd pass on to another founder in the e-commerce space trying to do the same thing?
Mm, Probably there's a lot of things I learned the hard way. Oh, actually, most recently, I've learned that um, you don't need to, what is that phrase? Like, kind of just start the race like completely running. This is a long journey. Think of it as like a marathon run. Um, Luckily for me, since I started this brand, I had a lot of connections with influencers, so I was able to get a little bit of a boost for them to like share the brand and um but it does fall flat. So it's definitely something. One thing I learned the most is you will have a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but you will have to keep moving forward. You don't need to start perfectly. Like you don't. And I'm the type of person outside of business, everything has to be top tier always. So even me just launching with one bag, I was so overwhelmed because I'm like, I wanted to launch with an entire collection, but I didn't have that money and we were mid COVID. So I was like, let me just be realistic with where I'm at, where I'm standing. And we had two colors, but now we do have a variety of items. We can keep adding more, but don't strive for perfection. Strive for actually bringing that dream to life. Like you did it, just take it day by day. And then while things are going in motion, you can slowly perfect it from there. And also, there's so many things you got to learn. Your customers are very willing to, they'll give you lots of grace. Let's just say that they're willing to, help you, I guess, navigate the process of redesigning the product, or they'll give you some tips if you want to. Like, always ask your customers for feedback because they're willing to be a part of that journey. And they're also willing to just be like, all right, cool, I'll wait to see what else you drop. That's one thing I learned too, because you kind of get nervous to get bad feedback, but you need that. Like, you need to see what could be better with your product.
Yeah, I think like it's really more about like the honest feedback, and just learning how to iterate from there.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so looking back, what's a decision you're really glad you made, even if it felt like it was risky at the time?
Mm. Oh, there's so many. But there's so many bad decisions, and then I think, let me just say, probably the decision I decided to make that was risky was to turn off my ads, and that was last year, because it wasn't actually bringing in numbers. Like the conversion rate wasn't as high as I thought it would be. Because you think you have to keep the ads on, which is true, but that works with brands that are already like Lululemon. They're already well known. But for a brand like me, and it's something that a lot of new businesses need to learn, is that people don't really know you yet. So I had to realize I need to turn off all these ads because I'm wasting money. I need to really just focus in on, and I hate to keep saying it, but the community. Like literally, like people don't know Yuma collection. Like we're still fairly new, and I need to create that community so then these people are actually talking about Yuma. And then later on, when like I might have like a trending video or whatever, then I can turn the ads on. So that was one of the risks I had to make. Like, hey, I don't need to rely on these ads. And once I did that, it's crazy. My conversion rate went 10 times better. I'm actually getting more traffic to the website. Like, and it's just natural, organic people coming to the site. And I'm like, I've been wasting all this money. And I hate wasting money as a business owner. It's like the
Yeah.
Facebook ads is a waste sometimes because, there's it's just annoying. It's stressful. But sometimes you don't need the ads. Let me just say that. You don't need them.
Yeah, as a marketer, I totally agree. I think
Um,
when like some folks think that like okay, we'll throw ads at it and people will buy our stuff. But I think on the other side, you have to remember there are real people on the other side scrolling away,
yeah.
and they're so inundated by ads these days. Like all the platforms are completely inundated by sponsored posts. So it's interesting. I talked to an influencer recently that was like, yeah, it's cool. We're going to say sponsored on there. And I'm like, sometimes like that's not always better because people will
Exactly.
scroll past the sponsored post.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, there's actually been saying that now they're pushing more UGC ads, so it doesn't look like an advertisement at
Yeah.
all. It just looks like, like me and you, someone's talking, and it happened to implement a product in it, and then if you look at the
Yeah.
corners, you can see that, oh, it's an advertisement. Like you have
Yeah.
to stumble upon it in a way.
I mean, it is the oldest practice, so of course it's getting it's getting smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
Um, Well, so as a smaller brand competing with bigger retailers, like how do you stay nimble and still be able to make some bold moves?
I'm focusing on the things that they're not focusing on, and just trying to, because one thing I've noticed that like a lot of these big brands, they have a very high price range, and I want to just stay true to this being affordable for my girls, like our community. Um, and one thing I noticed that like what sets us apart is like people, they're really focused on the organization of things. Because if you notice a lot of bags, if you open it up, it has one or two pockets, even outside of motherhood, a girl likes pockets. Like we like organization. We like to put things in different slots. That's one thing that we have that's very different that we're focusing on. Because even as an influencer myself, I went to a Fabletics event and they were giving out fanny packs, and I opened it up and it's literally just one zipper and like a slot. And people love Fabletics. It's a big brand, but I'm like, my fanny pack is better. I was just so annoyed because no one really knows about Yuma collection, but I have so much I can offer for the everyday woman. So I just want to keep doing that. So then when we do pop off, then it's just like, okay, Yuma checks all the boxes. They're good to go.
Yeah. No, pockets are everything. The thing I hate more than a fake pocket or a purse, like I know what you're talking about. Like the literally just one hole, and I'm like, what am I doing with this? Like I got way more than
Throw everything in.
yeah, yeah. Um, well, I know you, so it sounds like you're really tied into like the purpose, your why and your community. So how do you think that being mission led has helped you like grow as a business? Not just like I think it's really great that you've been able to feel good about the community that you're serving and being so connected, but in maybe like a more like business sense, how has it helped you like really scale the brand?
I think it helps with the messaging. And so as long as there's synergy on all the platforms, even through email marketing and SMS marketing, you go on your website, everything is tying in together. So that does help as a business. So it's kind of like, as an example, like with the big ones like Google or even Apple, the messaging is still the same no matter where you fall upon their ad or you see their product. And so for me, I think that's really helping me in a long run because um, it's something that I'm just doing it as I do it, but I have a lot of customers who say like, I really like the minimalist approach of this brand. Like everything is just so clean, and so I'm like, okay, that's something I gotta keep going, doing because I don't want to, launch something and it's kind of trails off of what people are already envisioning Yuma as. So on a business perspective, it's like shaping a whole ecosystem of the mission. Like it still ties back to it. It's not something that's all over the place and straying away, but where we're still in synergy in all the things that I'm doing with the brand.
Nice. Yeah, I do think like especially nowadays people are really like I think there's an intentional effort going towards supporting small businesses just in general,
Oh
but
yes.
I think people are really looking at brands and what they stand for. It's not just about the product anymore. I think like that is a big part of it. Like a functional, good product is still
Yeah.
the core of what people are buying, but I do think a lot of it is what are we supporting with this? Like how are we like people are thinking about the way that their money talks.
Yes. Yeah. Money talks, and on top of that, people are becoming more budget friendly. I mean, everything's so expensive, and it's gonna be even worse with the tariffs. But I've been seeing a lot of people talking about dupes of this, a cheaper version of this, and
No
so
way.
and it's like, you will have people who do want to spend more money, but a lot of people are gravitating towards keeping more money in your pocket. And that's why I'm glad that I stuck to being more affordable because a lot of my competitors, they had to keep marking up. Like I've actually done a lot of research, and a lot of my competitors, like people are saying, yeah, they sent us an email that they're bringing their bags up by like $20, and I'm like, and I was thinking I should do the same because the margin is getting a little slimmer because of costs, but it's like people are really, especially women, moms, we can't keep spending so much money on bags when you need diapers and formula and food. So I just want to be able to still keep the customer in mind. So yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I think that's so important. And that makes like I think that makes it even like more fun that we get to partner together because
Yeah.
the from like the Liquid Donate side, it's all about like really making that impact in the community and having more than just like a good story. It's like about the authenticity behind it and like the genuine passion behind it. And I'm really happy to see like a brand like yours really grow while staying true to the mission.
Fingers crossed. It's like I'm just waiting for the day where like the rocket just launches and I'm like I can get a breath of fresh air for a second.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you've been hustling for a while. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I have one last question for you. What's next for Yuma? Anything that we should all be watching out for in 2025?
Yeah, so actually for next month, I'm hoping to do a Pilates event for moms here in Dallas. So I have that in the works, and I want to launch more accessories this time around this year and maybe one new bag. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, stay tuned. Make sure to follow Yuma on social media. If you haven't yet, sign up for their newsletter. And Donnya, thank you so much for sharing your story with us and showing us how brand integrity, community, and operational efficiency can actually work together. So for the folks joining us, you can align mission-driven goals with retail realities. And with Liquid Donate, turning unsellable inventory into brand safe donations is not just doable, it's simple, trackable, and scalable. Um, Donnya, can you share with our audience where folks can find you?
Yes, we are at Yuma Collection on all platforms, and you can find us at yumacollection.com. And we actually currently have a spring sale if you want to check that out. But yes, this was really fun. I'm glad we had a chance to talk.